We're exploring how the ancient yin-yang philosophy connects to the dualistic structure of the human brain. The yin-yang symbol captures the essence of breathing cycles, arm swinging while walking, and even the rhythm of day and night. Here's the classic black and white symbol itself, showing two halves that complete each other into one whole. Now let's turn to the brain's most striking feature, its two hemispheres, and ask why this division exists. The left hemisphere has long been linked to language processing, a connection first noticed in the 1800s. Broca's aphasia disrupts speech production but leaves comprehension intact, while Wernicke's aphasia does the opposite. Both conditions point to left hemisphere specialization, showing how specific brain regions handle different language tasks. In the mid-20th century, Roger Sperry and Michael Gazzaniga launched pioneering studies on how each hemisphere works independently. The corpus callosum is the main fiber bundle connecting the two halves of the brain. Sperry found that cats and monkeys with severed connections looked indistinguishable from normal animals in everyday settings. Yet cutting the corpus callosum gave each hemisphere its own perception, learning, and memory, like having two separate brains. Split brain surgery was developed to relieve severe epileptic seizures that couldn't be controlled by medication. Even in humans, severing these connections caused remarkably little disturbance in daily behavior or intellect. Split-brain patients could only describe stimuli verbally or in writing when their left hemisphere processed the information. The left hemisphere handles the right side of the body and vision, while the right hemisphere manages the left side. Gazzaniga's demonstration with patient Joe vividly shows how the two hemispheres can act independently. Joe fixates on a dot, sees a saw on the left and a hammer on the right, says hammer, but draws a saw with his left hand. This setup mirrors the experimental design where different images appear in each visual field to test hemispheric responses. Recent studies challenge earlier findings, showing split-brain patients can identify stimuli anywhere in their visual field. The anterior commissure, posterior commissure, and fornix may all help the hemispheres communicate even without the corpus callosum. Proposed explanations include subcortical sharing, same-side motor control, and subtle behavioral cues between hemispheres. Agenesis of the corpus callosum is a rare birth condition where this structure is partly or fully absent. Brain plasticity allows structural and functional reorganization in response to injury or abnormalities, especially during development. Despite different connectivity patterns, people born without the corpus callosum maintain overall brain function remarkably well. Sperry noticed that individuals born without the corpus callosum still retain interhemispheric communication, a puzzle now called the Sperry paradox. Researchers found unusual nerve tracks passing through the midbrain and ventral forebrain, linking parietal regions across hemispheres. Hemispheric redundancy acts as a backup system, letting the brain compensate when one side is damaged. After removing an epileptic lesion from one temporal lobe, the opposite side increases its integration with the rest of the brain. This mirrors what happens after a stroke, where the unaffected hemisphere ramps up its connectivity to compensate. Let's look at the lasting impact of split brain research and the questions it raises about consciousness. Roger Sperry won the 1981 Nobel Prize for discovering how the cerebral hemispheres specialize in different functions. Michael Gazzaniga and George Miller coined the term cognitive neuroscience during a cab ride in 1976. The WADA test evaluates language and memory by temporarily putting one hemisphere to sleep with an anesthetic injection. An anesthetized human hemisphere resembles a sleeping dolphin hemisphere. One side rests while the other stays awake. These findings matter for leading theories of consciousness, like integrated information theory and global workspace theory. Just like yin-yang, we are all greater than the sum of our parts.